I have with me somebody who I'll call an OG in the Marathi music industry, Mr. Kaushal Inamdar. And sir, if I was to go like about your achievements, then as you told me just before we started recording, it would take the whole time. So I'd ask you to maybe introduce yourself. How you deem fit?
Okay. So I'm a music composer, and it's always better to look to the future. So instead of talking about achievements in the past, let's look towards the future. Uh, I think I have a lot of things yet that I could achieve. I'm looking forward to that. Based on my experience of music in various fields till now, that's in I worked extensively in television. Worked extensively in Marathi films, especially. Although I have done a Hindi film called Breaking News. It's Breaking News, and I have worked a lot with events and advertisements as well. So that sort of that is my area of work till now. I worked as a music composer. Initially, before I started out as a music composer, I worked for some time as a writer for television. And as a student, I had a lot of interest in theater as a writer. So I was groomed as a writer by my mentor and guru, Chetan Datar. He was a brilliant playwright and also an extremely forward-looking theater director in the Marathi field of theater. But his achievement was also that he bridged the gap of uh, theater in Marathi with theater in other Indian languages and English.
Hmm.
So,
Bridging as in?
bridge as in he did a lot of he he directed plays for the Shri Ram repertory in New Delhi. So
Hmm.
he adapted Marathi plays into Hindi or
Oh.
Kannada theatre into Marathi. That that was the that was the body of work that he did. So one of his last plays was based. It was an adaptation of the Marathi play Teen Paishacha Tamasha
Mm-hmm.
into Hindi,
Hmm.
and I think it was the original play was Bertolt Brecht, so
Hmm.
Three Penny Opera. So the original German adapted to Marathi by P.L. Deshpande was adapted to Hindi by Chetan Datar, and it was
Oh.
performed at Prithvi the last time I saw it. So
Hmm.
he did a lot of inter language work.
Hmm.
Okay, so he wrote a play called Savlya, which is even today considered to be a benchmark work in Marathi theatre. So
Hmm.
I got groomed by him as a writer. And even today, if you see my bio on Facebook or Twitter, for a long time my bio was I am a music composer I am a storyteller in the guise of a music composer
Hmm.
or in a musician. So the whole I found that e- music was a more suitable medium for me to tell stories.
Hmm.
So it's a different medium. It's a more sublime medium. But my my soul remains that of a storyteller.
Mm. Yeah. So,
Because I
huh.
always say that India is yeah. Tell
No,
me.
no, 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 no. So, what you're saying? What were you saying? India is a. Please complete.
Yeah, I was saying that people say that India is a land of forests and rivers, and it's a land of f- what do you say, diversity
Uh,
in unity. Okay,
Unity and diversity.
but
Yeah.
if you ask me, yeah, India is a land of stories and songs, and it's in our nature to tell stories in songs. And
Yeah.
it's not a coincidence that the highest philosophical treatise of this land is called Bhagavad Gita.
Gita.
It's not not a coincidence. If you see, the epics are all in verse,
Yeah. They're all
which
stories recited in the form of poetry.
in verse, yes. And
Yeah.
that's very that you can say that verse is goes parallel with music.
Hmm.
It's the soul sister of music, verse.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I feel that music, it came naturally to me, and I was drawn towards it to but the ultimate aim was to tell stories.
Hmm.
Because story, as you see, the word story is something that stores. But what does it store? It stores
Ideas,
collective wisdom.
wisdom, ideas. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that's how I was drawn towards it.
Yeah. So yeah. So like that's a very good point because there are few things in the world that that the world hasn't wrapped its head around yet, and music is one of them. I mean, if I think about music deeply enough, then I think like the music fascinates me to a great extent because I think that there are very few things in this world that come as close to magic, and we're able to put them in words. So, I mean, if I were to, think about like a lot of things that are magical in this sense, then I don't know, a lot of things, something like that would be, maybe the birth of a child, or or when we dream, or like if I go a more politically incorrect route, then there would be psychedelics that might sound magical to people. But I think
Yeah,
music
yeah.
is the most widespread thing that can be considered very magical and be very accessible as well. I think that music is the most accessible form of magic that the human race has managed to evolve. And
Absolutely.
and yeah, and that's what led me to thinking about the evolution. How did it evolve? And I was reading about it today, and there was the Darwin's theory that music evolved to attract sexual mates for humans.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that's very overfitting in that sense, just for the sexual explanation. Because if I think about it, then no other animal uses music. I mean, music in the sense that we use it. I mean, obviously if they produce some noise, then we can call it a cuckoo's song or something like that. But they don't generally use that kind of sounds to different kind of sounds to attract a
Mhm.
different set of mates. I mean, most of the animals uh
No, they
just have
do.
one set of
In
call.
fact, they
Like
do.
they have calls, right? They have a very clear sense of one way communication
Yeah, but
where,
they consider that to be music.
I mean,
For them, the call is the music.
I mean, is
So
is
even if
is the music
you
in that
see,
sense that we use it? I mean, is music in
yeah,
there?
it has been, y- yeah, because see, it's we the whole cognitive pattern of human beings is different. So
Hmm.
we have a nomenclature as music. For them,
Hmm.
it's the same thing. So the call is the music for them. So you see that, and Darwin was not actually very far away from that, because if you see you will see this thing in a lot of chimpanzees as well,
Hmm.
that they use their they use music or singing or their calls to attract mates. It's not just in human beings, it's there in chimpanzees. You can see it in frogs. So the frog, you know what you feel the sound is for the frogs, that's music, and
Hmm.
they try to impress their mates.
Hmm. Is it? I mean,
And
is it to impress or is it to communicate? I mean,
no, no,
do they
it's
do
to
it with the intent of impressing, or do they do it with the intent of communicating?
it's with the intent of impressing.
Oh, I didn't know
It's
that.
with the
I
intent of impressing. Yeah, and so you see the natural selection of what Darwin has proposed. It's always the female of the species which chooses.
yeah.
The choice lies with the female of the species.
Uh-huh.
Now, to woo the female, you'll see even amongst frogs there is a
Hmm.
competition.
Hmm.
So the male frogs will vie to win the attention of the female.
Hmm.
The first thing that they do is to sing.
Hmm.
The most attractive singers ultimately have a wrestling match,
Wow.
and the the frog who is most suitable will actually try to frighten away the other suitors. Right. So I have also read the same article by Darwin. It's and he's not very far from the truth. Now, if you see in India, why is it that we have so many love songs? The majority of songs in Indian films is love songs,
Yeah, I agree.
even today.
Yeah, I was to
No,
come to that,
nobody
but
gets
yeah.
away from it. So
Ah,
it, it's sort of a very primate
instinct.
instinct that we are
Ah,
following
ah.
even today.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I
Steve Pinker disagrees with this.
yeah. He says
He
that
says
it's
that
a waste of.
it's a waste product of civilization. That is what he calls it.
Uh,
But as a musician, I don't tend to agree with him, because there is no. I find great value in music, even otherwise. So I'm not inclined to
what Pinker
agree with
says.
Pinker. Uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, and I'll still go with Darwin, because you see that music has evolved with human beings.
Hmm.
Okay. So if it was a waste product, it wouldn't have evolved. No waste evolves.
No, yeah, that's what like evolution works in works like that. It cuts out
Yeah,
what isn't needed.
exactly. So no waste will evolve. If music was
Hmm.
a waste product, it wouldn't have evolved. It would have, like our tails, it
Faded
would
away.
have just faded away. It would have vanished.
Yeah,
And so that's why I'm not inclined to agree with Pinker. So,
yeah.
and what Darwin says has been seen actually. The selection of mates they have used. In fact, it's interesting what he says that music evolved before language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that is one reason I find that music works very well with language, and that
Hmm.
has been a point of interest for me since since I have become a music composer,
Hmm.
that how does it see there are phrases we use in language like between the lines.
Hmm.
So how do you communicate between the lines? So first there are non-verbal communication. There is non-verbal communication like body language, for example.
Hmm.
Okay, you so so you articulate something in words, but I understand a lot more than what you have articulated.
Hmm.
That's on the basis of, say, non-verbal communication. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, music adds to the sublimity of communication.
Hmm.
So, how do you communicate what is between the lines? You communicate it, if you communicate it with music, then so that is why it's exceedingly difficult to write on music, because
Hmm.
words are not enough. In Marathi, there is a poetry called by there's a poem by Mangesh Padgaonkar. He says, "शब्दा वाचून कळले सारे शब्दांच्या पलीकडले." So without words, I understood what was there beyond words.
Hmm.
शब्दांच्या पलीकडले, what is beyond words, I understood. Now this whole topography which is beyond words, how do you
Hmm.
access it?
Through music.
Through music.
Yeah.
And the human race found this extremely valuable
Asset.
means to communicate
Hmm.
beyond words.
Yeah.
Language helped to a certain point,
Uh-huh.
but after that, and you use the word psychedelic before,
Hmm. Yeah.
that is also one way to reach a point of, say, in Urdu there is a word called wajd.
Vajd.
Wajd, it means total concentration or masti. Okay, the point of concentration, it's spiritual jargon, you can say. So
Oh. Hmm.
okay, so wajd, so there is a शेर that रूह जब वजद में आए तो गजल होती है.
Wow.
हाँ, रूह जब वजद में आए तो गजल होती है, या कोई दिल को दुखाए तो गजल होती है.
क्या
अभी तो रूह जब वजद में आए, so how do you reach that वजद, that
Vajd.
so mm, the human race evolved, they started practicing music to get to that point of wajd.
Vajd.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
That's what I
now
was coming at.
you say psychedelic, you
Uh-huh.
see any kawwali, the
Uh-huh.
repetitive quality of a kawwali is very psychedelic in quality,
Psychedelic quality as in
as in because it's repetitive.
uh, it's
Take any
you mean trippy.
it's trippy, yeah.
Trippy. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so what is how how will you define trippy? How do you if I tell you, give me a visual for trippy,
Yeah.
will you
I'll
give a
say
will you give a triangle or a square or a circle?
I'll say very fast moving objects in different colors. It's basically a
Yeah,
lot of movements and a lot of visual.
yeah,
It's a lot
but
of
that
visual
movement,
changes.
is that movement triangular? Is it in
Circular. It's
form of
circular.
square, or is it circle?
It's
Yes,
circular. It's circular.
exactly, that is the point. So
Ah.
that circle is created
Ah.
of trippiness. If you see any kawwali, if you see that avartan, becomes
Ah.
fast. So to now this is communication that is beyond words. You can
Hmm.
write words, but word process of the word will always be intellectual,
Hmm.
but the cognition of knowledge is not only through the intelligence, it's also through instinct and intuition.
Hmm.
And what do you do about uh, these two areas where
Hmm.
the cognition will come from instinct or intuition? It's there that music comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was also coming at that. I mean, when I said that I find Darwin's explanation overfitting. I didn't say that. I mean, I didn't actually mean that it's wrong. I just said that I just meant that it's not. It might just not be complete. I think there's more
Because
to. I
no,
think there's more than sexual uh, explanation to that, as you said.
of course there is more than sexual because it's an evolving thing.
Yeah.
But the primary, what was the source of evolution,
Uh-huh.
is what Darwin is talking about. He's
Yeah.
not talking
Maybe.
anything beyond it.
Yeah.
You
Maybe.
know, he is not saying that this is the only scope of music.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that might
Okay.
be an
Now,
error in
now again,
interpretation.
yeah, yeah. So now again, if you see that selection of mates or communication or wooing,
Hmm.
sort of courtship
Signaling.
of, yeah, so that is, if you see, it's the instinct talking.
Hmm.
So if you ask me to tell, if you ask me what the how the travel of music is, it
Hmm.
goes from instinct to intuition, and it passes intelligence on the way.
Instinct to intuition passes intelligence on the way.
Yeah, so
Please
it
expand
passes
on
through
that.
intelligence. Okay, see, if you see, you say that Darwin's explanation is overfitting or it's limited, right?
Huh.
So he's talking about instinct,
Ooh.
right? He's talking about the instinctively you use music to woo your sexual partner or your mate, right?
Hmm.
And that is how it was evolved. Okay.
Hmm.
Does it stay there? No. What do people like me do? We try to marry words with music.
Hmm. Marry words with music,
And
right?
then there are people like you say that they are higher forms of music. And why do you say? For a reason. For example, classical music, in
Hmm.
Western classical music, or Indian classical music, which you can say, you can call as art music. Like, so there the dependence on words is slowly taken out.
Hmm.
You don't depend on words. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's passing through the words. Like, for example, if you say the first dependence on words might have come in folk songs or
Hmm.
in religious music.
Hmm.
Okay. And then it comes to pop music, like popular music, to film music, to
Hmm.
fusion music. And slowly it passes through that that area of intelligence
Hmm.
where you marry music with words, and then it goes into the realm of intuition,
Hmm.
where you actually, there are no words, there is no intelligence. It appeals to your finer sense of emotion,
Yeah.
not the base, not the basic
Hmm. It's like communication
then
without knowing what it's like. Like you don't. It's like you listen something, then you process it, you articulate it into a language you understand, and then you get the idea.
yeah,
With music, it's like you
yeah, but
directly get the idea. You don't like with here.
e-
It's like the
yeah,
passing on
exactly.
with
So it will pass through,
the
it will
words.
pass through this, yeah, the in so that you will find that it will pass through this realm of
Intelligence.
intelligence, of intuition, where you don't need the words between
Yeah, that's what I was
that
about to come at.
communication. But it's a finer sort of communication than the instinct.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if I'm talking to you, let's just say in the realm
Yeah,
of words, then I say something, you take it through my words, then
yeah,
you like passes on through your brain in the where it
yeah,
translates my words into ideas, and then you get the
yeah,
idea. But with music, it's like
right,
you're listening to someone. They
yeah,
might not be speaking very obvious language. Let's just say you
right,
might
right.
let's just say you listen to a Spanish song, you don't know anything about Spanish, but but when you hear the song, when you hear the lyrics, you don't understand anything. It still passes on through that intelligence layer, and you get the idea already.
Exactly. So what is happening is, instead of in the lower rung, you'll find that it's appealing to the basic instincts of humans,
Hmm.
then the intelligence in between, and
Hmm.
then the finer intuition.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
so music will travel from instinct to intuition while passing intelligence. That's what I meant.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
So
So
it's an interesting travel if you see, because even when it passes through intelligence, now who is that writer of Blink?
uh,
What's his name?
Skinner.
No, 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 no.
uh,
It's there on my lips, but I just can't. Okay,
uh,
so
Playing the book, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's there on my
uh, I think I've heard the name.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm
Malcolm
Gladwell.
Gladwell. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gladwell, in I have heard him say somewhere that when you see a movie, for example, okay, so actually you understand a lot more than you can articulate.
Hmm.
Okay. So if somebody asks you why you like the movie,
Yeah.
you will say something like, that Nasruddin Shah has acted very well.
Hmm.
Okay, now that is something that you can articulate, and then you can put forth. Yes, that is the reason, and that's the truth, that
Hmm.
Nasruddin Shah has indeed acted very well in that movie. But that's not the only reason why you have liked.
Hmm.
You have liked it for a million subtle,
Reasons.
small, minute reasons, which all of them you can't articulate. So what
Yeah.
you do is you put out a talking point. Yeah, that this so okay, we'll talk around Nasruddin Shah's acting, which is a talking point, which is in a way a highlight.
Hmm.
Okay, so you put out that. What music does is helps you to communicate in that, like the film also. It's not
Yeah.
communicating with you only on the level of words, but it's also the visual, the music that comes along.
Hmm.
And what that music is doing is it's communicating to you in such a subtle way that not everything you can articulate,
Hmm.
but you can understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. For example, I always feel when I'm doing a background score for a film,
Uh-huh.
what is my role as a background music composer? Okay. What's my role? I always feel that my role as a background music composer is a film is an audio visual medium.
Hmm.
Okay. But what it wants to do, or what is the endeavors to do, is to create an experience for the watcher,
Hmm.
right? It's not enough for me to just tell you a story.
Yeah.
I want you to be immersed in that
Exactly.
experience.
It's not.
Okay,
It's
so
not plain
it's
passing of information. It's
information.
it's
It's
like.
so I want to create an immersive experience for you.
It's like passing a lot of
So
information in a very condensed format so that you also get into it. It's like it's like
yeah, so
when there's a lot of light
get
happening
into
around
it.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
So
streamlined.
yeah, what
So
what do you mean by get into you?
uh,
It's like you should experience that thing. Now, what do you mean by
exactly.
experience? Okay, you don't experience only with two senses,
Hmm.
you experience with five senses.
Hmm.
So what do you do about the touch? What do you do about the smell?
Uh,
And what do you do about the taste?
hmm.
Okay, so I have to communicate. So what if, say, there is a touch?
Hmm.
Okay, now the hero touches the heroine.
Hmm.
Okay, so how do you know what sort of a touch that is?
Hmm.
What has happened to the heroine when she feels the touch? Is it good touch? Is it bad touch?
That
Is it
touch.
romantic touch? What is happening? Something changes within her. So
Hmm.
that touch you can't feel because it's an audio visual. So
You.
what music does is is uh, work for the other senses,
Other senses, right? I was just gonna say that if you are like if
right?
you have to make an
so
experience
so I
for
am
five senses,
creating,
uh,
yeah,
you have to
I am
make up for the other
creating
three.
that feeling. I am making up for the other three. I am
Uh,
doing the work for all the other three senses
yeah. Yeah.
through music,
Yeah.
because it's sublime,
Hmm.
because it communicates into the realm beyond words,
Hmm.
beyond intelligence, and beyond
Intelligence.
mere information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I use music. So if the heroine touches the hero,
Uh-huh.
here, or the hero touches on the shoulder, and I want to show that that touch is, I want people to experience that touch, then
Uh-huh.
maybe I will perhaps play a harp at the exact moment when
Hmm.
it touches her. Okay, so that they get the semblance of that touch.
Hmm.
So, in your words, I get them into it.
Hmm.
I
Exactly.
create that immersive experience. So
Yeah.
that's the work of music.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
simply excites me.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. So the obvious question that now emerges from my end, and I don't know how right this or how stupid this question might be, but if music has this power to express make us experience emotion, then
Yeah.
why is that a default mode of communication is not music?
For simple reason that we all work in the realm of intelligence more than we do in the realm of instinct and intuition.
Okay.
Okay. So
Uh,
okay, let me tell you in another way. You don't use a cannon to squat a mosquito, right?
Yes, exactly. Like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's the whole thing. If if I have to ask for groceries from the local grocer, music is rather overdoing it, you know. If I use music to communicate,
Hmm.
one thing that we haven't figured out a way, I can, but I'll still have to use the words. And
Ah.
intelligence is not, what do you say? It's not indispensable.
Hmm.
It's not like music will supersede intelligence.
Intelligence.
For yeah, for life to be worthy of what it is, you have to use a balance of instinct, intelligence, and intuition.
Hmm.
They are not indispensable.
Hmm.
They are not, they can't be viewed, you know,
Hmm.
independent from each other.
Hmm.
And that's why I feel that, it's, you can't say that this is the default. It's the default uh, mode of communication for the realm it belongs to.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So
I think also
if you
that's
get into the,
uh, I
yeah,
think also that's
if
what
you
actually make. Oh, sorry. Continue, please. Sorry,
no, no,
I'm.
if you get into that realm, that it becomes the default mode.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so I think even that's what makes humans different, as in because if if we because even when we're describing music, let's just say the way we're talking right now, we're doing that
Yeah.
in the realm of intelligence, and we are
Yeah.
actually thinking about our intuition. So
when
I
when
think,
people say when people say silence is golden, they
uh
have to use words for it.
yeah, that's what I think, because in other humans the concept of language does not exist as complex as we have. I mean, there's it's only one way, like it's
Yeah,
not a dialogue that particularly exists in like,
that is
but
why
with
I
humans.
never dis yeah,
Sorry, continue.
that is
That is
one
why.
reason why I never discount the realm of intelligence.
Hmm.
That's why I never discount the importance of language or words.
Hmm.
And in spite of, and that is one reason why I have never been so attracted to producing music without words. Talking about me personally,
Hmm.
I enjoy this middle realm where we marry
Words and music.
music to language. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I would like to see what comes out of it.
Hmm. So, sir, as we move along a more digital future, and
Yeah.
we've all heard the phrase that आजकल के गाने तो बेकार होते हैं compared to
uh,
पुराने गाने, and
uh,
but
uh,
and the key difference that we know is that, where earlier we started
mm,
from the most natural way of producing music, which was maybe through beating stuff, or
yeah,
maybe clapping or anything like that, and now we're moving to more digital, more computerized way of making music. So
right.
what is it actually doing? Is it corrupting the music, and in that sense the instinct and the intuition, or does it indicate that we're moving towards a future where we're more in where we're more immersed with the digital as well as the physical? What do you think about that?
Yeah. See, it's the onus of corruption should never be on the machine, because the moral compass is held only by human beings, not by the
Hmm.
machine. And how much ever you talk of artificial intelligence, now what I tell you, what, see, when I got into music, music was being produced on analog equipment,
Hmm.
on 2-inch digital tapes, magnetic tapes.
Hmm.
Okay. So I have this microphone. The voice used to be converted. It used to be picked up by the microphone. It was converted into an electrical signal,
Hmm.
and that electrical signal was written onto the
A
magnetic
graph.
tape.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. When that signal was played back by the
Hmm.
pin or the head of the tape, it used to convert that electrical signal back to analog signal, and we used to hear the voice again,
Sound.
what was being
Oh.
what was recorded.
Oh.
Okay, now when I started doing this, was the
Primary form
uh,
of
primary
both.
form of, yeah. So we hadn't, there was no digital music as yet. Okay,
Hmm.
when I started working in 1996.
Hmm.
Now when at that time we used to hear like waiting booth. We used to hear that now digital music is on the horizon, and in
Huh.
2 years digital music will come and it will revolutionize the way we think about sound. So
Hmm.
what happened was, because of the in the magnetic tape, the head used to scratch against that
The
tape,
paper.
right?
Huh.
So against that tape, the magnetic tape.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Now while it wrote the data on the tape, the electrical data,
Mm-hmm.
there was a magnetic tape that had a hissing sound of its own. So
Hmm.
if you hear the older tapes, if you
Mm-hmm.
have seen the cassettes, you play a
Uh-huh.
cassette. The moment you press play,
It
you will
starts with a
first
hiss.
hear it starts with a hiss. Okay,
Huh.
that's the hiss is the sound of the medium, the
Yeah,
tape.
that's also like the defining character of a lot of uh, when you see old movies, it's like it starts with the hiss and then it goes on with
His, yeah, yeah.
it's the
So
signal that
that's
old.
the sound of that tape. Okay,
Ah.
that's the sound of the medium. Now everybody was trying to get rid of that hiss. So Dolby at that time came up with a technology called noise reduction.
Hmm.
So when you put that noise reduction button on, then it used to subtract a few frequencies from the sound, and it used to reduce that noise,
Ah.
that hiss. Okay, when so I was on the shore when this digital tsunami came.
Hmm.
Okay, we were all on the shore, and we just it just consumed us within 2 years. The CD came and the hiss was gone. We
Hmm.
started recording on the digital audio tape first, and the
Hmm.
hiss was gone. The moment that it went, we realized that it was part of a certain, that his had become part of the sound culture. For
Hmm.
example, certain instruments like
Hmm.
the tabla sounded dead if there was no hiss in it. You know that the
Yeah.
baya of the tabla, it
Uh-huh.
sounded doop 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 doop. The
Yeah.
sound was dead.
Because I
Okay,
think it's a lot when
so
you beat it, there's the sound, and after that, for some time, there's a little bit
it's
of
called,
sound.
yeah, yeah, it's called the ass. Now
As
that ass just disappeared
disappeared.
because maybe the hiss went. Nobody knew why it had happened, and
Yeah.
people said that, okay, this, we tried to remove the hiss, but the whole thing is that we have lost the culture of that sound.
Huh.
Okay,
Huh.
now what to do? And then I saw the birth of the CD and the demise of the CD in my own lifetime. Okay,
Yeah.
so now what the technology company started to do is they started producing softwares or we call it VST plugins,
Hmm.
which would induce that hiss. So now there are tape plugins which induce that hiss. So the whole point was to remove that hiss, and now you are trying to,
Get it back.
you are making, you are making
A whole other thing to get it
software
back.
which
Ah,
to get it
to
back.
get it back.
It reminds me of that parable of that rishi who was bathing in the river one day, and a mouse fell into his hands,
Uh-huh.
and he said that he had no children, so he said that if I turn this mouse into a girl, maybe I will have a child of my own. And then he turned that mouse into a girl, and then she came of age eventually, and then
Hmm.
he said I should get her married. So he
Hmm.
went to the son, and he said, will you marry my daughter? So the son said, yes, she's beautiful. But the daughter said, no, no, he's too hot for my taste, and I can't stand his temper and his heat, this heat.
Hmm.
I don't want to marry. So then they went to the wind.
Hmm.
The wind liked the girl, but the girl said, no, no, he's too strong for me, and he'll just blow me away, and I am too weak, and I am too frail for him, so I don't want to
Hmm.
marry him. Then he took her to the mountain. She said, no, no, he's too big and he's too
Hmm.
still. I don't want to stand still. The whole life I'll get bored. So I don't want to marry him. The Rishi got frustrated, and finally he asked her, so who do you want to marry? At that precise point, she saw the king of mice coming through the hole of the mountain, you know, and he was moving everywhere on the mountain and down. And she said, this is the kind of life I want.
Hmm. Of a
I
mice.
want to become
Of mouse. Of
the
mouse.
wife of the king of
The
mice.
mouse. Mice.
And then at that time he realized that her destiny belonged to being a mouse, and he
Ah.
turned her back to a mouse, and she married him. In the same manner, we removed that hiss, and ultimately people had to work hard and create a software to get that hiss back.
Yeah.
So the
I
point
think
I'm
we
trying to
look.
make is,
I think it's the imperfections that we sort of uh, are attracted to when we talk about
exactly.
something like even music
Now the
or.
point, what happens in a computer or or computerized based music is that the whole travel is towards perfection,
Hmm.
but life consists of imperfections, and you can see life in imperfections, so that the whole perfection becomes extremely dead.
Hmm.
Like the sound of the tabla, it sounds dead. You perfect the thing, and the whole beauty of music is not perfection but coming close to it.
Hmm.
It's not in perfection, it's in minimizing the human error.
Hmm. It's like trying to be as perfect as possible, but still having those little things that make it what it is.
Yes. So
Ah.
it's minimizing the human error. It's not completely getting rid of
Removing
it,
it. Hmm.
because machines can get rid of it, no
Easily.
problem.
Huh.
Yeah, but you don't listen because it's not appealing to your intelligence. Just, I'm coming back to that point.
Huh.
If it was appealing to your intelligence, perfection would be fantastic.
Yeah,
But the
because if you think about language, if you think about communication, then as
yeah,
close to being more articulate as you get,
yeah,
that's what benefits you. If you're more articulate in your words, that's what gets
yes,
you to where you want to, because that appeals to intelligence. But with something like music, where you're talking about instinct and intuition, there, if you purposely bleed into intelligence, there I
Yeah.
think the essence of music would be lost.
Yes. So the whole point is to minimize that error, but keep keep it to the point that it seems real and human.
You I'd say natural.
So
I'd say where it makes it what it is.
yeah. So that it's not that Lata Mangeshkar was perfect. She came extremely close to perfection. That is what excites us.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me give you an analogy. Okay, so a person climbs Everest.
Hmm.
Okay, that's exciting. If you send a robot to
Climb
Mount
Everest.
Everest and he climbs it, it's not exciting at all. The whole thing is that human error could actually take a life, and
Hmm.
you minimize that human error,
Hmm.
and that is where the excitement is.
Coming from.
There is some sort of human emotional investment that goes in.
Yeah.
If that investment does not go in, then it is not exciting, then it
Yeah.
is not.
Because there's uncertainty involved, right? There's uncertainty involved.
Yeah.
Like if I'm particularly certain that this is going to be perfect,
Yeah.
then like what
Yeah.
uncertainty does is it induces dopamine in the brain, and that's what
Yeah.
excites you. Because if you look at neurological studies and the graph, and you see the graph of dopamine, you see that
Mm.
it's highest. Like if I were to give you an example, so if you were to look at gambling, so there was a study done around gambling. So the people who
Right.
gamble, their excitement level, their dopamine level is the highest when the ball is rolling, not then when it has stopped or they've won. So
Correct.
it's
Exactly.
the excitement, it's the anticipation that gets you
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
because even when you're, let's say you're gonna go for a vacation, the most exciting part is just before the vacation when you're preparing for it.
Right. And that is why you don't hear the metronome, which is the perfect, it will hit the beat at exactly, say,
On the
120 beats per minute. It will on the beat exactly. You would prefer to listen to Zakir Hussain, who plays with that time, who gets you excited whether he will come exactly on the sum or on the first beat or no.
hmm.
And that is the whole excite. You
but
can't listen to
uh, like but with the recent music that's getting popular, if I got to look at pop music, I think like that's very far from perfection. And if I were to look at what the legacy music is, it's a world of a difference. Where so then why is that music is still getting stuck in our head, and we are still moving our heads to that?
to the pop music or the legacy
Yeah,
music,
the
you say.
the pop music. Why is that like that? Obviously, that is not appreciated by people who like music, but it still
So it's
induces
not
some
like
kind
that.
of reaction
See,
with
it's
us.
yeah, but that's exactly some music will always cater to your instinct, and the masses, the larger the mass, the lower the IQ,
IQ,
the
exactly.
mass IQ. So at that point of time, you will find that music which actually subscribes, or which actually uh, it will evoke your baser instincts. That
Hmm.
music is always appreciated more by the masses, because you don't require to
Hmm.
see. There is a difference between a listener and a rasik, a connoisseur,
Rasik. Oh, yeah.
a connoisseur. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what the rasik, the connoisseur has to work towards it. You know, for example, if I listen to pop music, I can go there without any sort of training myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, there is no acclimatization required for me.
Hmm.
But if I go to listen to, say, a classical concert by Pandit Ullas Kashalkar or by Pandit Satyashil Deshpande or by Pandit Ajay Chakravarti,
Hmm. Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, I have to get little acclimatized to the music.
Exactly.
I have, I am expected to know a little bit about it.
You have to
Only
acquire
then
that taste.
I have to acquire that taste. Now, if I have to acquire that taste, means I have to work towards it.
Hmm.
If there is no working on my side, so that is why, see, music will always be catered to the last person in the society.
Hmm.
So I never see it as good or bad. It
Yeah,
has to
that's
do,
why.
because there is some, there is, I see it as a great, even the pop music, or say, say double meaning songs, you know, I see it as hope for people, because
Graduate.
they can always graduate, they can
Yeah.
always go beyond that, and
Yeah,
that
that's
is
what I
that is one
said
hope.
now in the beginning, that
Yeah.
music is the most widespread form of magic that as humans we understand.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. I think I get it now because as we started with that, it's instinct, intelligence, and then intuition. So the music that we talked about up until that starts with instinct, passes through intelligence, and then gets to intuition. But the pop music
Yeah.
or the massy music, as we see it, I think it starts as instinct, and and if you take it to the intelligence level, that's where you can really discard it. So we just keep it to the instinctive level, where we're not
Yeah.
thinking about what the music signifies or what it communicates, other
Yeah,
than
exactly.
the base emotions of, let's just say, excitement or happiness or sadness or whatever. Okay.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Hmm. Um,
Right.
so can I ask you some more questions? Do you have time, or do you have to leave?
Yeah, in another 15 minutes.
Okay, okay. I think we'll just go over this a bit a little. So, I heard you
Yeah.
say on the podcast with Kushal that the primary difference between the Marathi music industry and the Hindi music industry is that there's no hero in the Marathi music industry. And I sort of subscribe to that, and also see it in the form of music.
Yeah.
Like, if the Marathi song that I remember is very popular, Zingat, and that doesn't really have a hero, but the uh,
Yeah.
it communicates an emotion more than it does subscribe to a couple of people to be at the spotlight. Why is that different? Why is that the difference? Why does the Hindi film industry has a hero and the Marathis don't? Is there a difference in objective of why they're creating movies, or is it
Okay.
something that
So,
just came about?
uh, yeah, I'll tell you what the basic, you know, see that every land has its heroes.
Hmm.
Okay. So as if you say Marathi, uh, the the whole Marathi society as such,
Marathi films. No.
it's difficult for people to think of a hero beyond Shivaji Maharaj.
Hmm.
Okay, that's one reason.
Hmm.
The second reason is the Marathi psyche is it is that of a critic.
Hmm.
So people constantly look. intellectualize everything. Look at me, for example. I am a musician, and yet I continually attempt or endeavor to intellectualize everything. I
Yeah,
intellectualize my music as well. Now
I
you can
noticed.
say that it's either a good thing or a bad thing or anything. I don't judge it. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
saying that most people are like this.
it's
Now
just a
see the
descriptive
difference.
statement.
Yeah, so that is the difference between say Marathi music and say Punjabi music.
Huh,
Punjabis are overall simple people.
huh,
Their music, you'll see a simplicity and a repetitiveness in
hmm,
that music.
hmm,
They, so okay, forget Punjabi. Let's take very North Indian typical Hindi film song. Okay,
hmm,
so i I take two songs which convey a similar sentiment,
hmm.
that the world is on one side and I as the individual, I am left alone.
Yeah, I
Okay,
and me and my
yeah,
lover is
yeah.
our.
So not just lover, I am alone,
Huh,
I am lonely in this world, and
huh,
the whole world is on the other side and I can't
huh,
communicate with it, or it's not accepting me or something like
hmm.
that. So like, जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल, दुनिया पड़ी है संग दिल, चांदनी आई घर जलाने, सूझे न कोई मंजिल. Okay, this is a Hindi song which says that
Hmm.
I am left alone, I am lonely, the world is, it's cruel and
Against
it's
me. Huh.
against me. Okay, so look at the simplicity of the musical phrases. जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल, दुनिया बड़ी है संग दिल, चांदनी आई घर जलाने, सूझे न कोई मंजिल. So I have nowhere to go. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now same sentiment in a Marathi song, that I am lonely and I have nowhere to go. हा माझा मार गए कला. You see the complexity of this phrase?
I didn't understand Marathi, so
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna need a
just the
translation.
musical phrase, just the
Huh, huh.
musical phrase. The 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 line simply means that I am walking a very lonely path.
Hmm.
हा this माझा mine, marg road, ekal
Huh,
lonely.
huh, huh.
So this my
Yeah.
road is very lonely.
Huh.
The road that
That's
I'm
more of
walking is
a
very lonely.
poetic and a symbolic representation of a
Yeah,
lonely life.
yeah. No, but that is the words. Look at the musical phrase.
Huh.
जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल. It's simpler,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
हा माझा
Hmm.
मार गए कला. So
Huh.
there is a complexity of experience that we constantly strive to
Achieve.
communicate.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, because of that, what happens is that along with the artist in us, there is also a split personality of the critic. The
Huh.
critic is also it coexists with the artist, and
Huh.
the critic constantly tells the artist that okay, now you have done this, now do something else. ये तो हो गया
Huh.
अब. So if you see, there are more Marathi songs which have all the three verses of a song are different tunes than a Hindi song which will have two verses or three verses same tune.
Hmm.
So this is very, this is not without its exceptions. Okay,
Yeah.
let me make
Obviously.
that clear. It's yeah.
Yeah.
But
Obviously.
this is a general
It's the
observation
huh.
that I have seen. Okay,
Hmm.
so everything when you try to intellectualize, then you don't have a hero, because a hero will always talk in slogans. There is one reason why Mahatma Gandhi became the leader of the masses and not Veer Savarkar or Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose could have become, did not become for a different. Mahatma Gandhi understood the value of sloganeering.
The rhetoric, the value of rhetoric.
Not just the rhetoric, just communicating very simply.
Very simple ideas.
Yeah,
And
very simple idea. For
Ah.
example, in Popul Jaikar's book, she mentions that Indira Gandhi learned this thing from Mahatma Gandhi, that to communicate in as less words as possible. So what did Gandhi say? Gandhi said, quit India. Simple, not really difficult to understand. What did Indira Gandhi say? Garibi hatao. Simple, not coming. Now she knew, everybody. If you keep, say, an economist speech on how you can control poverty,
no one would
will
understand.
that be will that gathering be more crowded, or a gathering where Indira Gandhi
Garibi
says
hatao.
Garibi hatao will be more crowded?
Yeah.
People understand that. So that's so the simplifying an experience, sometimes oversimplifying it, helps in
Reaching the masses.
reaching the masses. That's the reason.
And that's why we see a hero complex that develops in the
Yeah,
music
the
industry.
hero has to speak in slogans.
Exactly.
ये पुलिस स्टेशन है, तुम्हारे बाप का घर नहीं. Yeah. So that
Great. I think that was great. I can go like I would love to have more discussions on the hero part. We'll do that sometime later. But for now, I'm gonna leave you. So I really enjoyed it, sir. How was it for you?
Yeah. Thank you. Enjoyed it very much.
Yes.
It's always refreshing to talk to people from your generation, because it's you can challenge ideas, and what happens to people talking in the same generation is that the communication is safer and better, for the simple reason that the idioms in which the other person is talking. But when it's a different generation that you're talking to, the idioms change, the way you communicate changes. So it constantly keeps challenging you, and then you have to explain it better, and then you make some effort on articulating what exactly you want to say. That's why
because it's also like you realize how environment dependent or time dependent your thinking might have been, because if you're talking to someone, if you're talking to someone from your age, they live in the same environment as you, they are from the same time as you,
same era.
so the ideas might just be very time dependent. But when you talk to someone who's older or younger, you realize how frail your ideas might get when they're applied universally. So I think that was great, and I'm gonna stop recording now.
So so you are the one who should judge, not I.
No, obviously, yeah, sir. I really, it was a really thought-provoking discussion for me. I mean, I really thought that the evolution of music part would be around 20 to 40 minutes max, but it covered the major part of our discussion, and I love that. I love how we spoke about different themes and everything. So that was great, sir. That was great. Thank you, sir.